What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Full Court Talk, episode 79. We're getting close to 80. Like, whenever we come back, it's going to be 80. But how you guys doing?
All good, all good. We got a lot to say, so let's go.
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having me. I know last week I missed it. Sorry, but thanks for having me back, Spence and Miles.
Of course, bro.
Anytime,
All
bro.
time. Before we get started, just want to say, after this, we're going to take a little break. I'm graduating, so I'm going to take a big-ass break. Thank you, thank you.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Definitely,
Yes,
definitely,
sir.
bro. But today, what kind of sparked these topics are kind of frustrating ones. Who is the worst analyst right now? I had a specific analyst in mind when I made this topic. We'll get a little positive. Who's your favorite? And then topic 2, more Grizzlies and Warriors. Just the drama keeps going, keeps getting interesting. And then we'll talk about to extend or not to extend. I'll give the guys about 6 players to who they think should extend or not extend. Going to the first topic, who is the worst basketball analyst right now?
Bro, I'm sorry, but it's a toss-up between Kendrick Perkins and Skip for me. As you know, as we can all figure, Skip is just a hater. All the memes with him it's hilarious. Like I saw one today of when somebody the year that LeBron was born, and then it was a tweet by him saying something doesn't feel right. Like on this day, like it was just hella funny. But yeah, Skip, his takes are just ridiculous. Not even related to LeBron sometimes. It can be about just anything sports. He just looks like a hater, and he looks like an individual that's paid just to be a hater. And so I think for me, Skip is up there. He's top 2, possibly not 2 with Kendrick Perkins. And Kendrick Perkins, like as good as he was, with the Celtics, unfortunately his analytical career does not follow. And the one thing that I do like about him is to carry the hell on. But other than that, like, sorry, Perk, it's not it. So if I had to choose between the two, I think I would go with Skip. He said some out of pocket stuff that to this day I can't believe that it's real. Like you would think it's one of those fake made up tweets, but yeah, for me it has to be Skip.
I can't argue both of those. I see all those points and I agree. I just personally kind of enjoy them just because the meme and like entertainment value they have, like they're mad entertaining and they're mad funny. Because of their absurd takes. I think who inspired this topic, I don't know who, for sure, but is that Mad Dog Russo guy. Um, I I remember when first take added him, it was like 2 months ago maybe. Ever since Max left, and yeah, he's always been one a knockoff Skip Bayless who has bad takes and is not even funny about it. So I think I would have to pick him just because he takes up half the show, and like I end up not watching or listening because it's just like I don't want to listen to this guy. Um, the ones that I like right now, and there are a lot. Obviously, JJ Redick. I like Max still. I think he's really smart, and just the way he defends his points is solid. That's about it. I like Richard Jefferson too. He's hilarious. Uh, Colin Coward's pretty good too. I know he's like uh 50-50, but I personally like him. So, but yeah, just that Mad Dog Russo is garbage, bro.
Yeah, that's actually who inspired this. It was right after him telling Draymond to shut up and play that I
Yep.
was like, okay, yeah, that's enough. He is, from what I've seen and from what Draymond has retweeted, he's racist. And there was the racist undertone with the shut up and play. We've seen it before on Fox where they told Katie and LeBron to shut up and dribble.
Yep.
Same thing. But I mean, on top of that, he's a baseball analyst. I know he had a show on MLB Network called High Heat. I used to see him every morning when my brother watched baseball. He's terrible. He's unbearable. His takes are terrible. They make no sense. He said Bob Cousy was better than CP3. Bob Cousy never shot over 40% for his career, and that was back with plumbers.
I think JJ Redick responded, Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand.
Yeah, it is true. Like half those guys, like you can't compare them. It's just uncomparable. And CP3 is just a wizard with the basketball. If they put him back in Bob Cousy's time, wouldn't be pretty.
Oh God.
But yeah, JJ Redick, I think he's the best one out there right now. His points are really good. He explains them really well. And hearing them from a player's point of view is something that I think a lot more media companies should do. That's why I really like Draymond's takes because obviously I'm a Warriors fan, so I'm kind of biased, but he is like, if you listen to him, he is fantastic. He is a basketball savant. So I think JJ Redick is my favorite. Stephen A is kind of like, he used to be one of my favorites, but I think Stephen A is kind of taken a dip. He's turning into like Skip Bayless kind of takes, and not always the best, but he's a Warriors fan. I gotta respect it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, he's been writing off since October, and today he got kind of iffy just because, like, you know, the way you guys won last night. But a win's a win, bro. I'm not concerned.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the Warriors. Speaking of Warriors, let's get into the series a little. So obviously the Warriors are up 3-1. They dropped game 2 where the flagrant foul took place with Gary Payton and Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks suspended. Obviously, I think this whole series has been like overshadowed by the flagrant fouls and the controversy. Before I let you guys speak, I just want to kind of like set the scene. You know, obviously the flagrant foul with Draymond, flagrant 2, kick out of the game, no suspension. Flagrant 2 with Dillon Brooks, 3 minutes into the game, suspended 1 game for injuring Gary Payton. And then game 3, huge blowout. Ja gets hurt with a knee injury. But the controversy is that Jordan Poole grabbed his knee. Whether or not the injury happened there is not really the point. The point is that Ja is hurt. And so we shouldn't really be talking about where it happened, but we should be talking about the fact that it did happen. And then game 4, not really controversy other than it was a shit game. Like, let's be honest. That was 38 points and a half is ridiculous by the Warriors, and 41 by it was a bad half of basketball. So with all that being said, nobody's really talked about the basketball aspect of the series. They've just talked about the media, the controversy, and what do you guys think about that whole, like the whole thing as a whole?
Yeah, Myles, I'm gonna let you go first with this one. I know you have a lot to say.
Good look, bro. I wanted to see if you wanted to talk first. Dude, again, like we've been talking a lot off the air just because there's so much going on, and all the dialogue is just exhausting on both sides. Honestly, like all people want to do is just complain. Like I told you guys again, like we can't be arguing intent. We're not mind readers. Can't say, oh, he did this on purpose. He didn't do it on purpose. What matters, like what you said, Spencer, is dudes got hurt, whether it's from the actions or not. Obviously, Dillon Brooks, it was because of that action. Jordan Poole, we can't say definite, like for sure, yes or no, but I'm sure it didn't help because, again, like the Poole seemed very innocent, and then I saw his other hand. He pushed Ja's body away, so it's kind of like that, But regardless, either way, we don't know for sure if that was a cause. What matters is Ja has a bone bruise and he's probably out for the whole playoffs. And it's just, you're right. No one's talking about the games. It's unfortunate that the only full game I could watch was yesterday's because it felt like a early to mid 2000 game with like all defense. Like there were hella turnovers, hella missed shots. I felt like I was watching the Pistons and the Spurs. So, And then at the end, Steph had a flop. It was, I think the Grizzlies were up 1. Desmond Bain got an offensive board and put back. That would have put him up 3. Instead, it was a foul call on him. And then Steph got 2 free throws. Warriors took the lead, and that was that. And, it's part of the game. It's fine. Like, dudes flop. Just people be like, oh, LeBron flops. He's too great to do all that. Oh, Chris Paul is like so annoying. Like, dude, everyone does it. So if you're not going to call out your guys either, then what are we doing here? But yeah, I just honestly, the game wasn't too not enjoyable for me, just because I like close games. It keeps me interested. So hopefully we get more of that. But yeah, man, just all the outside stuff, all the off the court stuff, so exhausting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. This whole series, I know this is the second round, but everybody expected that, the Boston Brooklyn series to be that one that's the most interesting. But to me, it turned out to be, Warriors Memphis, and because of the bad blood that they had with each other and whatnot. But yeah, I like what Myles said about how we're not mind readers, and we really don't know what the intent was for any one of these guys. And the only one you can really argue was Dylan Brooks, for the severity of it all. And it's really unfortunate with Ja, but I would really like, especially for the Warrior fans that I know, with the exception of Spence over here, respect you, Spence, to keep that same energy. It's just it's a shame. When talking sports, obviously, like, not all of us are experts and all that stuff, but it comes down to, just being biased. That's all it is. And, I'm in no way, shape, or form or a LeBron fan, but a lot of the people that had something to say, for some reason, it's just always the Lakers get brought up, and so it's a shame that there's so much injuries, extending beyond Memphis and Golden State, but the spotlight is on them because of how physical and all the storylines surrounding it. And like, Myles said, I really feel like it's like a throwback playoff series, and all the way down to the horrible officiating, and so I really hope that in the future, things could be a little bit different when it comes to the way that approach is handled. And I know it doesn't help when all these, analysts that we previously talked about, set fuel to the fire and this basketball Twitter. But, at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but you just have to be knowledgeable about, what's going on, and to not really show your bias, which I know it's hard. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with, Myles might be, but if anybody else that's listening or watching might be familiar with the Gotham Coach Twitter, he tweeted the most relevant thing, in my opinion, right now, and it was like, "Hey, get this: if your team beats my team, and my team had injuries, you guys won because of injuries. But if my team beats your team, and I didn't have any injuries, guess what? We won." So I think it's just the funniest thing, bro. It's the funniest thing. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, but I mean, that's hoops for you, right? So
Yeah, I mean, this whole series has been like, honestly, it's been a shit show. It's been what every NBA fan has wanted. With the drama, the intensity, the close games. But the media has chosen to focus on the controversy instead of the basketball play. That first game, that was one of the most stressful games I've watched in a long time. And the second game, super frustrating, but it was a great game. Third game, didn't get to watch, but 30 point blowout, nothing, But the last night's game was it was frustrating to see 38 points and a half, but it got better. But I will say, I think the most frustrating thing to me has been Taylor Jenkins. His lack of he doesn't know when to stop talking. I think the way he says things is just very, to me, it comes off as whiny. Obviously, after the Jordan Poole incident in Game 3, I understand him calling out Jordan Poole because from all pretenses and all you saw circling on Twitter was that one play. So immediately in your mind, you go, okay, that's where it happened. And that's what happened. A lot of people just assume that's where it happened. Makes sense. And I will say about Ja Morant, totally understand why he went on Twitter and said the same thing. You go through the emotions of getting hurt in the playoffs. It's your third knee injury this season. You express what you think happens. But the most frustrating thing to me is when Taylor Jenkins doubled down after getting the MRI, knowing it was a bone bruise, knowing that Jordan Poole probably didn't cause that, but to double down and say, yeah, Jordan Poole did it again. I think that was frustrating because Jordan Poole, one, is not a dirty player. I've watched him for a long time now. He is honestly a very soft defender. If anything, he's a turnstile, and he's not going to be dirty like that, in my opinion. What is he doing grabbing onto Ja's knee? I don't know. If you watch it in full speed, it's a little just tap, if anything. It's not a grab. It looks really bad in slow motion to me, but I don't really want to get into that. We don't know where it happened, but to double down and just kind of call him out again and then say, oh yeah, Ja's not going to play without giving the official announcement. I think it was kind of like a ploy to be like, let's suspend him. And that's just kind of what it came across as me. And then after Game 4, saying, "Oh yeah, the Draymond was a foul." I think it was just kind of like that block is really clean to me. The one where Jaren took it with 12 seconds left. If there was any contact, first of all, he took a contested 3 with 2 people on him. I don't think any ref should reward that. There's no rewarding a bad shot to me. It's a terrible shot. And that's where the Warriors kind of beat them, is their inexperience. The Grizzlies just don't have the experience to compete down the line, especially without Ja. Without Ja, you don't have that closer. Jaren Jackson's not going to close for you. Dillon Brooks was taking hero ball shots. That's when you know it's over.
Their shot selection at the end, the last 5 minutes, was horrendous.
Dillon Brooks was 4 of 18, not counting that last shot, because that last shot don't count. But 4 of 18, and you leave him in after he takes a dribble pull-up. And then he kicks it off his foot, driving the lane. He did that multiple times last night. He had a ton of just really bad turnovers. And you see a guy reeling like that, and I get you don't want to take him out because of his confidence, but you want to win the game. Zaire Williams is going to win you the game at that point. Anyone on your bench, D'Anthony Melton, anyone is going to play better than Dillon Brooks. So it was a really weird coaching decision, but I'm cool with it. I love seeing him struggle, especially with all the boos. So that was great. But I say that's all I'll say. This Grizzlies series has been extremely frustrating, even as a Warriors fan. It's been, especially from the media standpoint, I'll start with the Warriors. Them making fun of Ja after he got hurt, saying oh, he just whines and stuff. It's like, you'd feel the same way if Steph got hurt, and that's the only play you see. You'd feel the same way. You did the same thing with Gary Payton. You did the same thing with Draymond. You stood behind their backs. Of course, they're going to come and defend Ja. Of course, you're going to be the first one to jump on Ja's back and be like, he did it, because that's all you see. So I get it. But then to make fun of him, saying all these just hurtful things about someone that's injured, I didn't like that. And especially not just Warrior fans, but media members from the Warrior. It was not a good look. And I was very upset with that, because as a Warriors fan, you don't want to portray your fan base like that, especially your media members. So I didn't like that. Memphis media has been something else. I don't know if you guys saw one of the media members. I know he's a meteorologist, but he he called Draymond a racist term. I don't want to say it over here, but he called him basically big and stupid, but in a racist term. And then as soon as he did that, he deleted his Twitter. So he knew what he did. Don't know what happened to him after that, but it was a really, really bad tweet. And obviously they've tried to get Poole suspended twice from the jumping on the court after the Dylan Brooks thing, and then trying to get him suspended after the Jordan Poole, John Morant incident. So this has been one of the most mentally draining series, and it's for all the wrong reasons, not even basketball reasons. It's literally just because the media hypes it up as controversy. And so at this point, I'm ready for it to be over. Let's get it done. Let's just finish it up, get it done in 5. Let's move on to Suns or Mavs. I'm done with this series.
Yeah. I'm done with it too, but I still wanted to go 7, obviously, just to tire you guys out for whoever comes out of the other series, which might also go 7. Yeah, real quick, I want to just shout you out because you're always so real and like so reasonable about it. Also, if you're watching this and like you're offended and you don't do this stuff that I'm saying, then don't be offended because the shoe doesn't fit. But obviously, if you're offended, then the shoe fits, you know. So, yeah, man, just tired of everyone crying. Like everyone does the same stuff.
It's
part of
both
the game.
sides.
Yeah, not even just these 2 teams, like the whole league.
Yeah,
The whole league foul baits, the whole league flops. Like everyone does it. So don't call out other dudes and not like your dudes. Like I hate when LeBron does that. I hate when AD does that. Like it sucks, but again, it's part of it. So yeah, let's just hope we can just enjoy the basketball now.
The only person I will say that annoys me with the flopping, Luka.
I see that, but he's too great, man.
He is too great.
When they're great at it, like yeah, I get it. Like it probably reminds you of James Harden, but again, I like him too. So
I think what annoys me more is that he's so slow. he comes down the lane, just stops, and then takes 2 more steps, gets bumped, and then wants the foul. It's not fun to watch, but he's so damn good at selling it, so I can't complain too much.
I only like it because he's doing it to CP3 and the Suns, man. It's a sight.
I don't know if it's true, but did he actually say to CP3, you taught me that when he was flopping?
I couldn't read the lips properly, but
no,
he
either.
did. That's hilarious. That's absolutely
that would be great if that is true.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to the next one. To extend or to not extend. So I'll give you guys 6 players. The first one, DeAndre Hunter. If you're the Hawks, do you guys extend him or do you not extend him? And if you do extend him, for how much?
This one's hard to answer just because of the rise of Onyeka Okongwu. The only thing is, Onyeka Okongwu is more of, I mean, they're both front court players, but he got more of that brute strength down low. And knock on wood, I know he started off his rookie season injured, but he's less likely to miss games as opposed to DeAndre Hunter, which is proven to miss games. So, assuming that, even with that said, I can still see DeAndre Hunter playing more of a 3, more or less compared to a 4. So I would extend him. As for how much, that's something I'm not sure of because I don't know how much they could spend. But I would definitely say extend him. If he can move on from a role that Onyeka Okongwu might possibly take up.
I would not extend him. Like CJ, I do consider him more of a 3 than a 4 because their front court is pretty crowded already with Capella, John Collins, and Okongwu. And then just in terms of the starting lineup, obviously you have Trey and Bogdanovic. I'd want to see more of a defender there, just because obviously Trey can't defend. Bogdanovic is okay, but he's not great. I know you have Collins and Capella to help off that, but I mean, in today's NBA, like if there's enough spacing, then help doesn't really matter because you can't switch everything with those guys either. So I would just want to find another better wing defender.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter's kind of weird. He's very inconsistent. I think he had a couple of really good flashes, but he's never really been able to put it together from a consistency standpoint. I think if I'm extending him, I'm giving him like some kind of prove it deal, like a 1-1, maybe a 2-1, just to have him actually prove he can be consistent at some point, because I think at this point he's just sometimes he'll score 20, sometimes he'll score 5, sometimes he won't even attempt a shot. He's a good defender, but I think you need a great defender next to Trey and Bogdanovich.
Facts.
Perimeter wise, you're fucked. Like that can't be your front two, in my opinion. In terms of defense, offensively you can get away with it, but defensively,
Yeah, for sure.
they are terrible. So there's no this next player. Let's imagine he doesn't take his option. James Harden. We're not going to talk about the money standpoint because someone is going to give this man the max. So let's assume the Sixers have to max him out. Do you extend him or do you not extend him?
I think you kind of have to, dude. Just because you traded for this guy and you traded a decent amount for him. We've talked about how he's probably washed. He had a good showing in game 4. Obviously, tonight they got blown out. If he can be 80% of his old self, which right now he's probably like more like 65 or 70, I think that's enough with him and Embiid and Maxey and obviously everyone else to contend. And I mean, unless you can get a better name out there. I haven't looked at the free agency list in a while, but yeah, I think you kind of have to for them just because you traded so much.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I don't want to say it, bro, but his not style of play, his game has declined, and I don't know what it is, and it's a shame. I mean, yeah, in the previous game that they had, he actually looked like his old self, but I don't know what happened, whether it was injuries or the current situation that he's in, or is it like a mental health aspect. I'm just confused because, James Harden, not too long ago, was putting up triple doubles with ease, 30 pieces and 40 pieces, and step backing all the way to freaking half court. So I'm just confused about like what went down. But yeah, like Myles said, like you kind of just have to. You put all the cards out there and you're betting on him, to play alongside Embiid. And at this point, it's a given. You have, yes, you have another choice, but that's essentially your two superstars. And you wanted to make this trade and you gave so much, and so now you kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you don't do it. So it's a tough situation, especially, but I also want to consider the fact that he didn't start out as a Sixer this year. So maybe one good off season training camp and all can change that. But yeah, like I definitely agree with Myles. I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing they can do. You spent so much money on this guy. You've told Joel Embiid you're gonna go to compete, and James Harden is your path to contention. It just depends how much Harden you get. Do you get the one that closed out the other night, or do you get the guy who's been showing up recently, 5 of 15, 15 points? It's kind of tough because I think James Harden, we know who he is and we know what he can do. He can be a 35 triple-double, but is he going to do that now? Probably not. But I think you have to extend him. You got to max him out if he wants the max. If he doesn't want the max, good. But if he does, you're strapped to it. You got to go for it. The next player, Kyrie Irving. Do you extend him? Do you even give him a 1-1? Or you just cut your losses?
Not my guy, man. Oh, man. This one, you wanted to pair Kyrie and KD together. For the most part, it didn't look like it panned out, especially after this previous season. But knowing what they have and what they gave up and the current situation they're in, I think they don't have a choice either but to extend. But to an extent, right? What is the least amount that they can give him? Because that's something I'm not aware
I mean, he would never take it, but probably like a mid-level.
True.
He's like
True.
5 million, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
Or
wouldn't take
maybe
it obviously, but
1.6, but
yeah,
he's not gonna take it.
yeah.
Definitely not. All right. So, Brooklyn has no choice. If they don't, like, who are they going to pair alongside KD? And
Joe
so
Harris.
Joe Harris. Hey, I was thinking about this today. With the current team that the Brooklyn Nets had this season, and I know how the Warriors swept, the Cavs with KD, and it was against Bron and Kyrie. But if Bron was there for Brooklyn, do you guys think that they could have at least won one game?
Which
Yeah.
Braun? Like today's Braun or Braun at Katie's age?
I would say Bron at KD's age, just so
No,
it could
dude.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
that
they
series
would've
goes
won.
7.
yeah.
Series goes
I was just
7,
thinking,
and yeah.
yeah. And so, just going back to the topic at hand, I say that Brooklyn has no choice but to do that, unless they want to completely blow it up. And I don't know if they want to do that so early after recently acquiring KD and Kyrie. But yeah, you guys, you're right. He would never take it. So that's the numbers game is going to be interesting.
Honestly, at the end of the day, it depends on what Kevin Durant wants because he's obviously the shot caller there. But that aside, either give him a 2-year deal with a team option after the first year, or just move on. It's such a unique situation because of who Kyrie is. I don't know how much of a factor at this point all the vaccine stuff will be, but he'll find another reason to take mental health days, which is fine. But obviously Kyrie has doesn't have the best reputation for his credibility for that. So if I were running the Nets, I would try to move off of him. Maybe try to work out a sign and trade with the team, or just move on completely because culture is very underrated. I don't know how you guys feel about culture, but like every level of the franchise, from the owner down to the staff, players, etc., like that's how you build good franchises and keep yourself in contention. Like only the great ones can win in spite of dysfunction. Look at the Cavs, LeBron. Look at the Lakers, even with Shaq and Kobe. Like other than that, you need a cohesive unit. So getting Kyrie out will help that immensely.
Yeah, I think for me, if KD's cool with it, I'd let him walk. I just don't see the point of having that headache anymore. But at the same time, if you let him walk, you have to get something back. If you could do a sign and trade, do it. But I just don't know what you could get back at this point. Because I honestly don't know what team would actually trade for him. I don't even know if the Knicks would trade for him. But it's the Knicks. They might. Maybe Utah. Maybe Donovan Mitchell. Pair him up with Rudy Gobert. Be something.
Hey, man, I would open him with open arms for Russ.
Just saying. and that has been like thrown out there.
I've seen that.
Not necessarily like them for each other, but like offloading Russ and then getting Kyrie. I don't love it.
Who says yes?
Does California still have the vaccine thing? Because if they do, he can't play half the games. So.
Oh god, yeah, I think they do. I don't know.
Yeah, who says yes is my favorite thing to say.
Yes?
Honestly, I think they might both be cool with it at this point.
Yeah, both teams are desperate as hell, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird because it's both a reunion, awkward reunions because both sides have talked shit. So,
yep,
I'm for it. Let's do it. But seeing Kyrie 4 times does not sound fun. Next player. This one's kind of interesting because he didn't play last season. Colin Sexton.
Ooh. Honestly, with the way the Cavs have played for the rest of the year, assuming that they retain pretty much everybody, I wouldn't. I don't see. Sexton is a good player, but with the rise of Darius Garland, I don't see a position for him starting. Right, I can see it if he's willing to take on a 6-man role. Same thing like Kevin Love did, maybe play behind Garland. But I think pride would get in the way with that. So, unfortunately, if I was the Cavs, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, seeing their success after he got hurt. I agree. There's no spot for him in the starting lineup. Best case scenario would be a sign and trade, so you get some value back. But I mean, he doesn't really make that much anyway. I don't think it's like 5 or 6 million. So yeah, just let him walk. Build what you have already.
Yeah, I think it's pretty difficult to even get anything for him because he's not gonna. I think if he does do a sign and trade, he's not looking at a max deal or anything like. I think he would be lucky to get anything over 10 million. I'm looking at like 5 to 10 million because even when he did play, like he never got a lot better. Like it felt very empty to me. Not a good defender, not a point guard. He's a shooting guard at like 6'2". So it's hard to find value for a 6'2" shooting guard. Bit tough.
Monte Ellis.
Never won with him. But Monte was fun to watch. Colin Sexton is
yeah.
I'll give it to him. Colin Sexton will be fun too, but it's tough to win with 2 short guards like that. I would say I would definitely let him walk. He's been injury prone, and I think honestly you could argue that the Cavs were a Jared Allen away from making the playoffs. So a fully healthy year, I think I could see maybe a good playoff run from them. I loved watching them. They were fun to watch. So another player hasn't played in a while, Zion Williamson. Do you extend him?
Ooh, I think you have to, man. Just the upside is astronomical. I know there's a lot of risk, and if I were a betting man, I would not do it. But I think it's a shot worth taking for sure.
Hey, you know what my answer is, man. Contrary to popular belief, I think it'd be a tough decision just because of BI, and he was a big part of the reason why they made it to the playoffs this season. And that move they made to get CJ, questionable at first, ended up paying off. But you can't deny the thought of putting those 3 together, Zion, BI, and CJ. You got, assuming that Zion can go back to his old self, you got a monster down low, and then you got BI as arguably your first option, CJ, and so the Pelicans, besides those 2, and hometown hero, just kidding, Jose Alvarado. I think they need that flair. They need something to. I mean, Zion's more than just a ticket sale, but they need somebody there to bring in that excitement. And I know the playoffs contributed to that and whatnot, but when Zion got there and when he finally played, that first game against the Spurs, he showed the potential. And it's just very unfortunate how you can't stay healthy. But, I have, look at Embiid. I know 2 different types of players, but injury prone, and then look at him now. And, like I said, 2 different players, 2 different play styles. But if he can do what Embiid did and just get healthy, the Pelicans are going to be scary. So I would take the risk. For sure. And he said he wants to be there. A lot of people were saying that, New York reunite with the guys, the brotherhood. But at the same time, what are you supposed to say? You can't say that, oh, I want out. Only some people want to do that. But, Zion's, I don't know it personally, but he's a nice guy, watching him at Duke. And of course he's going to say that he wants to stay. So, I've never heard of anybody saying that they want to stay with the Pelicans. So good on him. So, I would extend.
Yeah, I think if the Pelicans didn't have a good year, maybe you could argue that you shouldn't. But the Pelicans actually had a pretty successful year. They took the Suns to 6 games.
Yeah.
They somehow made the first round. Nobody ever thought they would. I think you kind of have to at this point. What kind of money he gets, I have no idea. He's probably going to demand and get a max contract just because his upside is ridiculous. But do you guys think he's a flight risk for Memphis to team up with Ja because they're hometown buddies?
Memphis does have a lot of expiring contracts this year too. So, oh God, that'd be a great duo. I would like it better just because there's more of a spot for him. Obviously, like we said, New Orleans has CJ and BI. You know what? Do it. Send him to Memphis. I'm down. All in.
Defensively, they would probably become the worst team, but the alley-oops would be ridiculous. It would be fun to watch. Must-see TV.
Definitely would be. And, if it came down to, convincing him to go somewhere, it's between New York and Memphis for sure. Both, in Memphis, you got both of them who are South Carolina natives, and, they played AAU ball together. So they kind of already have that connection. And, defensively, they would be terrible, but, they would be Lob City, like you said, Spence. And, Zion would have more of a role. I think Zion's role would be basically what Brandon Clark does, but on steroids. You know what I mean? And so, why not? Right? So if it happens, hey, count me in. Grit and grind. No, I'm just kidding.
Bitch and wine.
That part.
Last person, Mo Bamba. One good season, but it was when they actually played him. He had a good season. What do you guys think?
Nope. I mean, if you had to choose between him and Jonathan Isaac, I would choose him. But in Orlando's case, I wouldn't. They're still, in my opinion, in rebuild mode, and they can afford to let him walk because there was a time where they wouldn't even play him. So they really wouldn't miss much if they let Mo Bamba walk. And, sorry to my friend Alex, if he watches this, one of the biggest Orlando Magic fan I know. It's just, you can't keep Mo Bamba, man. And it's a shame because, if they can't play him alongside Wendell Carter Jr., they essentially play the same thing. And it's just awkward. And so I would let him walk if I was Orlando.
Yeah, same here. Let him walk. I could have said it better. I would also take him over Jonathan Isaac, but you're not contending anyway. He's not a franchise cornerstone, not even a third best player on a championship team. So yeah, just let him go.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was rumored that the Lakers were going to sign him if he was going to be bought out. So to be bought out at 22, 23, to even have rumors of being bought out at 22 or 23 is not good. In all honesty, he's a great shot blocker, not a great defender. He's not a good rebounder. He's decent at best. Inconsistent scorer on my fantasy team. He only kept me afloat because of the blocks, but that's it. He's a decent player. I think someone would offer him about probably the mid-level exception because he could be really good. It's just he's a very awkward player. Not a great shot, not a good finisher. So it's what can he do? Defensively, he's good, But
Jump high.
offensively, yeah, he's gonna jump high, and he's gonna sometimes, if you pair him with a good playmaker, he could be really good. But he needs that kind of crutch. I just wouldn't extend him. Honestly, that whole Magic team, just get rid of it. There's no point.
But I will say this though, I would have taken him over DeAndre Jordan.
Oh,
I don't know. DeAndre looked pretty good.
Oh my god.
6 years ago.
Still have PTSD, man.
Man, I hear that.
But that's going to do it for us for episode 79. This is crazy. Almost 80. But like I said, we're going to take a little break, so we'll be back. But check us out. Link down in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. But that's going to do it for us. So we'll catch you guys whenever.
Whenever, yeah.
Peace.
Whenever.